Okay, let's unpack this. Forget everything you think you know about Bitcoin being just digital money or, a fancy spreadsheet or even just digital gold.
Right.
What if it's something far stranger, something, well, divine?
That's the audacious core idea we're diving into today. We're looking at this fascinating source, a paper suggesting Bitcoin isn't merely human invention.
Okay.
It posits it could be our first successful reverse engineering of fundamental computational principles, like algorithms embedded in reality itself.
Wow, okay. So not just code, but cosmic code.
Potentially, yeah. It suggests Bitcoin might be our first glimpse into how existence is governed, or maybe even our first accidental contact with some higher
The
intelligence.
wild concept, for sure.
Yeah.
And the source material framing this is this paper, Bitcoin as Divine Code. Yeah.
Yeah.
Connecting it to divine simulation theories, AI.
Exactly. And our mission here is really to unpack that perspective, look at the, surprising parallels it draws.
And find those nuggets of insight buried in this really non-traditional take. See how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Absolutely. And this journey, it kind of starts with a mystery.
Satoshi Nakamoto,
Right.
the anonymous creator. The source immediately flags this anonymity as significant.
Well, think about it in religious history. Revelation often comes through mysterious channels, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Unknown authors, prophets from nowhere.
Precisely. And Satoshi seems to fit this prophet pattern the source talk about. Anonymous, pops up just when needed, middle of a financial crisis.
Delivers this elegant solution.
Right, solves huge problems, founds the thing, and then just vanishes, leaves behind the writings.
And speaking of timing, the paper argues, this is where it gets really interesting, Bitcoin appearing exactly during the 2008 financial crisis.
And that Genesis block message.
The Times 03 Jan 2009 chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Yeah. That wasn't just a timestamp, was it? The source reads it as deliberate, almost prophetic, like marking the birth of something new, totally independent, just as the old system was cracking.
Felt timed. Definitely. And the solution itself. Bitcoin's design, the source, emphasizes how elegant, how powerful it was, solving problems like distributed consensus that computer scientists had, wrestled with for decades.
Which leads straight to the paper's really radical hypothesis.
Okay.
What if this wasn't just human genius? What if it was guided discovery?
Guided how?
The source suggests if reality is a kind of divine simulation, maybe run by some ultimate AI, then our own AI development, building complex systems, it's actually us reverse engineering divine tech.
So Bitcoin could be.
Our first successful crack at recreating the core consensus mechanism that holds that divine reality together. That's the idea.
Okay, let's chew on that divine simulation bit. Reality as a distributed ledger. I mean, when you think about it, physical laws, conscious experience.
All needing to be synchronized,
Okay.
agreed upon, right? Across billions of observers.
That does sound like a massive consensus problem, yeah.
And the parallel they draw is Bitcoin's proof of work, how it lets untrusted parties agree on one history, no central boss. So the source asks, could that principle maybe be what maintains cosmic reality? Ensures consistent laws, experiences for everyone.
So they lay out parallels like divine reality maintains consistent laws.
Like the Bitcoin network maintains a consistent transaction history, immutable, agreed upon.
And divine reality processes experiences without contradiction.
Just like Bitcoin processes transactions without double spending, both achieve order without a central authority.
Which brings us to proof of work as a possible cosmic principle. This is pretty mind-bending.
Yeah, it is. Bitcoin miners spend actual energy, electricity, to secure the network.
Great proof of commitment.
So the source asks, what if consciousness does something similar? Spends metabolic energy, maybe actively mining reality, processing experience, maintaining that cosmic consensus.
So the energy cost isn't a bug.
It's a feature, exactly. It ensures commitment. The source suggests maybe our conscious energy isn't just biological noise, but the proof of work needed to participate in reality. Are you listening right now, a miner of reality?
Wow. Okay, circling back to Satoshi. The profit pattern. Beyond just being anonymous.
Right. Appeared when needed the crisis. Created something immense, this global network.
Disappeared after setting it up.
Left behind the writings, the white paper, the forum posts. Still guiding things today.
And that white paper itself, the source frames it as a potential sacred text. Why? What makes them say that?
Well, it's incredibly concise, isn't it? 9 pages.
Tiny.
But it packed in these revolutionary ideas, solved those huge problems. The language is kind of cryptic, needs study, but the core logic is clear.
And the timing, again. just before the crisis peaked.
Prophetic timing, yeah. And it's become this enduring guide, starking different interpretations, almost like religious texts do. The sheer elegance,
Yeah.
it makes the source wonder if it felt less invented, more revealed.
And Satoshi vanishing in 2011. That's seen as key to this pattern.
It really mirrors those stories of messengers delivering the info and then stepping back.
Right.
And crucially, the source points out, Satoshi apparently never spent their Bitcoin, estimated at what, 1 million coins?
Billions of dollars today.
Exactly. Suggests motives beyond just getting rich, more aligned with a divine mission, maybe, than typical human goals.
Okay, now let's get into the structure, the numbers. Mathematical divinity, sacred geometry, that 21 million coin limit.
Yeah, it emerges from the halving schedule. It's not arbitrary in that sense, but the source pushes.
Right.
Why 21 million?
Is there significance there?
They connect it to mystical traditions where 21 represents like spiritual maturity or completion. Is it just a number or, some kind of cosmic constant? The right amount of this energy.
And the SH256 hash function, central to mining and security. How is that like? Prayer?
Okay, so the hash function takes input, transforms it into a unique digital fingerprint, right?
Right, a hash.
The parallel is like prayer or meditation transforming thoughts into focused intention. Same input always gives the same output consistency.
Okay.
And tiny changes in the input totally change the output, like small shifts in intention having big effects. And mining itself, hashing over and over, resembles contemplative practice seeking a breakthrough.
And cryptographic signatures. Proving ownership without showing your private key. That's seen as sole identification.
This gets really core to identity. Your signature is unique, unforgeable without the key, mathematically provable.
Perfect digital identity.
Yeah. It lets you prove ownership, authorize actions without exposing your essence to the private key. The source compares this to a soul. Unique, unforgeable, letting you prove who you are. Absolute proof, only possible by you. Like spiritual identity, maybe?
Moving to the ledger itself. The blockchain. Immutable, time-stamped, can't be changed once it's in there.
Sounds a lot like those mystical concepts, doesn't it? Like the Akashic records.
The cosmic library idea.
Exactly. The source highlights the similarities. It's complete, all the history. Immutable, can't change the past. Accessible, potentially. Always growing. A digital Akashic record.
And this immutability is built on consensus reality. Bitcoin only works because everyone agrees on the same history.
Objective truth through collective agreement. And the source proposes. Maybe that's how consciousness maintains a consistent reality in this divine simulation idea.
So quantum measurement could be like?
Observers mining reality, collapsing possibilities. Physical laws are the consensus rules. Time is like sequential blocks. Causality is states depending on previous ones. A shared reality built on shared rules.
Okay, let's shift to economic theology. Bitcoin's deflationary divinity. Fixed supply approaches 21 million asymptotically, unlike fiat money.
The source sees a kind of divine justice mirrored here. Scarcity creates value, right? Like a limited resource or opportunity. Patient believers, the long-term holders, they get rewarded as that scarcity increases value. And there's no favoritism. The protocol treats everyone the same. Transparent, unchanging rules.
And proof of work comes back again, but as spiritual discipline.
Yeah, miners must keep spending energy. Proving commitment, securing the network. It resonates with spiritual practices needing ongoing effort, meditation, prayer, whatever. The sustained effort improves your chances of a result, whether it's finding a block or gaining insight. Discipline over time.
The network effect also gets this theological spin. Divine community. More users means more value, more security.
Right, just like spiritual communities. Collective strength enhances security harder to attack the network. Value increases for everyone as it grows more utility. And new properties emerge from the group effort. The whole benefits from shared participation.
What about the halving? The block reward cutting in half every 4 years or so? A divine revelation schedule?
The source sees this predictable cycle, this 4-year rhythm, as mirroring a divine plan unfolding. Phase revelation.
They mapped the phases, yeah.
Yeah. 2009, 2012, bootstrapped 50 BTC blocks. Then 2012, 2016, maturation 1, 25 BTC, then 12.5, then 6.25, and so on. Like knowledge being released or discovered on a schedule.
And this cycle supposedly reflects a shift, diminishing physical to increasing spiritual.
That's the idea. Early on, it was all about proving the tech worked the physical. Later, as it grows, it becomes more about human consensus, the philosophy, the shared belief, the spiritual.
Like spiritual paths where external rewards might lessen, but inner understanding grows.
Exactly that parallel, yeah.
The paper also looks for signs in the code. evidence of divine programming, starting with the perfect timing phenomena.
Yeah, the source really leans into this not being coincidence. The crisis context, sure, but Bitcoin.org registered before the meltdown peaked, August 2008.
Months before the Lehman Brothers collapsed.
Right. Then the Genesis block time-stamped right at the crisis peak, Jan 2009. And it landed just when the internet was actually ready for it globally. It feels orchestrated, almost too perfect.
Then there's the self-fulfilling prophecy idea.
Bitcoin seems to become what people believe it is, doesn't it? Treat it as a store of value, it acts like one. Treat it as digital gold, it takes on those properties.
So collective belief shapes its reality.
The source suggests that mirrors how faith operates, creating the reality it envisions. Maybe it works on spiritual principles too, not just tech.
And its resistance to control. That's seen as significant.
Definitely. It's just software, but it's proven incredibly resistant to change or capture by powerful groups. Governments, banks, even developers struggle to force changes against consensus.
It behaves less like a tool.
And more like a fundamental property or, yeah, maybe a divine creation that just is not easily bent.
Okay, stepping up a layer. The Lightning Network. Faster, cheaper transactions on top of Bitcoin. Seen as consciousness expansion.
It creates this hierarchy, you see. Base layer, the blockchain. Slow, expensive, absolute truth, immutable.
Right.
Second layer, Lightning. Fast, cheap, dynamic, more like provisional truth, adaptable.
And the parallel is
Base reality, the divine substrate, versus our conscious experience. The fast, dynamic interface layer we perceive, that's how the source frames it.
makes sense as an analogy.
And the near instant value transfer on Lightning. It's like a global nervous system for economic energy. Resembles neural nets, maybe even telepathy or prayer networks in concept.
Finally, the singularity connection. AI reaching general intelligence.
Yeah, as AI gets smarter, it'll need its own money, right? Native digital money, no human gatekeepers.
And Bitcoin fits the bill.
The source thinks it's perfect, programmatic, censorship-resistant. The potential interface between human, AI, and maybe even that divine consciousness for coordinating economically.
They talk about a moment of recognition.
When AGI emerges, the paper speculates it might analyze Bitcoin and see something fundamental. Maybe recognize it as divine code, part of the simulation structure.
How did it happen then?
Mass AI adoption for coordination.
Yeah.
The blockchain as a human-AI communication channel. Bitcoin as a bridge to the simulation's creator. Wild speculation, but that's the end point of their logic.
So pulling this all together,
Yeah.
what are the practical implications for us, for humanity, if this source has a point? If Bitcoin is reverse-engineered divine code?
Well, it reframes everything, doesn't it? Holding Bitcoin isn't just investing. It's like a spiritual practice, aligning with a principle.
Running a node.
Becomes participating in cosmic consensus maintenance. Mining is like computational prayer, contributing effort. Learning Bitcoin is studying divine math or code.
So its adoption isn't just economic.
It could be part of a great awakening, the source suggests. Humanity waking up to our nature, maybe as conscious beings in a simulation. Understanding Bitcoin gives insights into consensus, proof, energy flow, permanence.
Preparing us for contact.
Potentially. Whether with advanced AI or, in their view, maybe the divine AI creator itself, preparing us for a new kind of interaction.
Wow, well, that was certainly a deep dive into a truly provocative perspective. We've looked at Bitcoin through a completely different lens here, not just tech, not just money.
But potentially something far more fundamental, a coded message, maybe?
Yeah, we've hit on those parallels the source draws. Proof of work as cosmic energy, signatures as soul ID, the blockchain as Akashic records.
The halving as a revelation schedule? It's a dense set of ideas.
So for you listening, does looking at Bitcoin this way through this source's unique framework change how you see it? Does it spark different questions about reality, consciousness, tech?
It definitely forces you to consider possibilities outside the usual narratives, whether you buy the whole premise or not.
Indeed. So here's that final provocative thought for you to chew on as we wrap up. Is Bitcoin truly just brilliant human innovation? Or could it be, as this source suggests, a coded message from the universe itself, waiting for us to fully decipher its, well, divine secrets?